there, isn't there, John?
There's just so much stuff happening, and I feel like I'm trying to get Coach Theory across the finish line as well as five other things, and it's it's all good. I don't know, it's all good. Oh, we're live! Yay!
Okay. Hi, welcome everyone to the Coaching to Flourish podcast. I am your host, Raj Anderson, executive life coach and assessor, and I'm here with John Andrew Williams, who's the founder of Coach Training EDU. And you just caught the tail end of our conversation. John, how are you doing?
Good, good. And Coach Theory is almost there. It's a coach client matching app. It's through Apple, getting it through Google Play. Basically, I keep thinking, oh, we're 2 weeks away. So I'm thinking I'm going to call this perspective the 2 weeks away perspective. At some point in time, it's going to be true. But really, if I had started this thing and they said, you know what, it's going to take you 2 years to develop this, I don't know if I'd go yes. But here I am 2 years later, and it's still 2 weeks away. So I don't know. I don't know, but it's close. I mean, basically what we're doing right now is we're going to launch it, and we're going to keep within the coach training EDU community for a little bit. And then with the idea that sometime in December and January, we'll open up for everybody. So as it launches, I know I'm getting messages from coaches who have signed up for it in Apple saying, hey, it's not working yet. We know why. And we have fixed it. And that's amazing. And right after this, I want to talk to my dev on it and see what they say. So that's in progress. I know we have a coaching demo to get to as well. We got Andrew Petrillo, about 6 minutes left on that, so we'll get to that. How are you doing, Raj? How are things?
I'm good, thank you, John. Thank you for sharing that. So lots of exciting things are happening at Coach Training EDU. And once again, if you are here listening, go and check out the events as well. Listen out for where we're at in 2 weeks. I will not be here for a couple of weeks. So I'd love to see what's happening when I come back. So I'm going to be traveling to India and doing some leadership workshops and coaching and then just taking a bit of time out. So I'm excited about that, John.
Yeah, me too. Excited for you as well. It's nice to be able to take different perspectives, and travel gives us that opportunity. Uh, Step away, come back, all good things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I guess we better get into this demo, hadn't we? Part two with Andrew, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's part two. Yep. Here he is. Here we go.
That's what feels a lot better about, like, I had this camp idea. I was like, okay, like I never wanted to do coaching in summer. Like, kids aren't that engaged. I'm like, okay, summer intensive camp. Like that sounds awesome. Like that's something that would be marketable to a parent, like design yeah, come out of it with a leadership project, like all in all, like that would be really cool, easy to market, like target audience, like parents, like, okay, if your kid's on the couch, like this is something that you get to get them there. And then it's like, okay, well, if I was a kid, I wouldn't want to go back into a classroom setting. Like that sounds, I want to do something fun during the summer. And I love being outside, and it shifted to like, well, what if I did the same structure, like the same concepts, the same coaching, group coaching, but on a backpacking trip? And like that's rooted in my core of like who I am, of like being outside, like adventure, creating that, like being present in, yeah, in the natural elements. And like those are the best connections that I've created in my life, is when like I was outside with friends. Those are when I learned the most about myself, like climbing mountains in Nepal, being in Yosemite, like all these things are just such powerful experiences for me. And then adding coaching onto that, and the correct, or not the correct, but the powerful conversations that come to that with a group that's like, where there's like, yeah, there's a sense of exposure and vulnerability that's just inherent to just being on a trip like that. I'm like, that's me. That's like my bread and butter. That's like who I am. I can deliver that even just to my friends without the coaching aspect. Now I add the coaching aspect, and I feel like that could be really cool.
You got some homework.
I got a lot of homework. I think
You got some homework.
you
got some homework. Three things, homework. Thing one, I feel like this is a visual recording. Like this is
Okay.
enough of a start for you to lay down some audio. What this looks like, the excitement of it, all of it, as a motivation structure.
Okay,
Feels like enough.
okay.
Two, what are your thoughts on doing some ideal client interview? Find the moms, the dads, the parents who want, who you would love to work with, and ask them, what would make this interesting to you?
Okay,
What would actually get you to sign up for it and say, yeah, this is it?
I've never thought of that. But I think that could be, that would help me learn more about what to do.
I'm gonna pause here again, restart the share because I realized maybe I didn't share audio on this one. And it's probably a good stopping point anyway. So what do you think, Raj, so far? I know we're jumping in the context, all of it. We're jumping right in the middle. Yeah.
I do want to remind people as well, go and listen to the first part because John also shares, this is a long-term client, isn't it? Someone that you've worked with before. So, you have this connection and rapport there as well. You asked a question in part one, and you can see here how the energy has even shifted. When he's talking about the things that he enjoys and, this is my bread and butter. It's like something is opening up inside of him. There's very different his energy here than it was even at the beginning. I'm curious, John, you've shared there with him a couple of suggestions about the vision recording and then also the ideal client interview. But I note that you shared it with him in terms of what do you think, right?
Yeah.
It was opened up. So anyone that's listening, coaches could be like, is that leading? Is it not leading? What would you say around that?
Yeah, I mean it's interesting when I was listening to it and thought, oh, here are three things. I think, oh no, here we go. The coach is going to start to pontificate on these are the three things that need to happen. That's not what you want. You want to ask questions. The first one feels like I want to capture his excitement. That's fine. Vision recording is it's a suggestion. I think that these kind of leading questions or suggestions like this, they're okay as long as a coach is not attached to the client actually doing them, right? Following, if it becomes an argument, like you need to do this, they don't want to do it, or they don't pick up on it. That's the problem. Maybe not my best coaching at this point, but I can't help it. I think, and I do, and a part of me would argue that maybe it is best coaching at this point. What I did like about it is point two. I opened it right up. Like, what do you think about doing ideal client profiles? So the idea is, I think from a coaching standpoint, the import is, yes, you should do them. Do the ideal client profile. What do you think about that? I think from a pure strategic and no put on the business hat standpoint, a little bit, it's a hard one. It's ambitious. Putting on a summer program for teenagers involves so much work. It's a lovely idea. The logistics of this are massive. And I think from a pure practical standpoint, the ask is huge. I don't think it's feasible. It would take basically anytime you put on an in-person workshop or something like this, it takes about a year to put together. I think that we're doing this session some point in February. Summer is just around the corner. I mean, it's here right now. I don't think it's feasible. From a coach standpoint, I'm thinking it's ambitious, it's lovely, but it's not feasible. So my suggestion of have you talked to parents and got their input on this? What would actually get them to move the ball forward on this with their child? That would give Andrew very valuable information. What I find though is even if the idea itself is not feasible, there are elements that are, and at least exploring them lead to those elements, lead to this idea. And perhaps it works out. Like, let's say that he doesn't put on the workshop himself or lead the thing himself, but there's an organization that already has the infrastructure and logistics of a summer program, and they see what he's up to, and they think, wow, we want to integrate this into what we do, or we want to figure out a way that we could bring coaching into this, and maybe he does a 2-hour experience with students who are already involved in a ropes course, or maybe he contacts ropes course places, and he's in Portland at this point, around Portland, and contacts all of them and say, this is what I do. How can I, maybe it's not a whole week, maybe it's a half day. Maybe, so even though if the grand idea might not be feasible to pull off in a period of time, there are elements of it that are feasible. So those are all the thoughts that's happening with me as a coach. Would I send this in as an MCC recording? No. But do I still think it's valuable coaching? Yes.
And thank you for sharing that, John, because I think that there is that great demonstration between managing your own experience and knowing what it takes to put on programs and leaning into curiosity instead, isn't it? Because we could, if we've done this before or we know it, we might start to lean on that experience or expertise, or perhaps even make assumptions, yet you're choosing to be curious in that moment and hand it back to him.
Yeah, well, he takes it too. He literally says, I've never thought of that. That's a good idea. Let's do it. Fine. But as a coach, you don't want to get into the let's pat myself on the back moment. It's okay, so when are you going to do it? What's it like? I mean, stay over there on Andrew's side and let's get the job done. Like, the world needs more coaching. It's no longer an excuse of, oh, like, I don't think that I'm not good enough, or the profession is this. Like, no. Just, it's not about us. It's about how can we create these experiences for humanity so we can help humanity move the ball forward. That's the bottom line. And there's a certain level of impetuousness of it needs to happen now. Like, go and talk to your target audience, the people you want to serve, and ask them, what do you most need? What would really get you to decide to hire a coach? These are really valuable questions to ask. It forms the foundation of establishing any kind of business. I did it myself when I established my coaching practice. I did it when establishing and working with coaches, training coaches. The biggest thing training coaches, people who are interested in being a coach, the number one thing by far, isn't even in a second place, is how do I establish a business doing this? Really closely after that is, am I enough? Those are the two things. I wrestle with them too. Everyone wrestles with them.
Me too.
And welcome to the game.
Absolutely. Okay. I'd love to keep listening, John. What's next?
Let's keep it rolling. Ooh, they're different layouts. That's kind of fun. All right. I'm getting over. Oh yeah, we can see our, oh my gosh, I'm playing with Zoom layouts in real time. Not okay. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I can,
Don't have
and
to
I
guess.
know people, yeah. Or like,
don't
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Much
I can-
pressure. Even, and it's super common. I did it. Every new coach does it. You guess, you try it. I've learned just recently. Don't guess. Just interview them. Ask them.
Just ask, yeah.
Yeah, I need 20 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Don't guess, just ask. Don't waste my time.
All right.
Don't, yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds super actionable and much easier than just continuing to just throw myself out there and just hoping something is gonna stick to the wall.
There's a bit of that too. And I mean, I applaud that. That's amazing that you did this step. You did the thing that you said you're going to do in our last session. That's amazing. And now you're asking yourself, where are my blind spots? Where am I not seeing the things?
Yeah.
Big question is, like, how can you incorporate asking, and like, how can you, if you take out How can you ask more, guess less?
Ask more, guess less. Okay. Think.
I have to go to another one. I am stacked today, so unfortunately I have to run. Like I've
Okay.
been on back to back since like 6:30 this morning.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
do have to run. Yeah, it's wild. Careful for what you vision for. You know what I mean? You got to get very specific in
Yeah.
those visionings because a lot of it comes come true.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. Like it's lovely work. It's really powerful work. This is amazing. I'm so proud of the progress you're making. Just like what you're talking about is like, oh, yeah, you're there. I can see it for you.
Yeah.
But it's going to require it's going to require asking more, guessing less, but still guessing and still putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Just not stop that momentum.
All the
Okay.
above.
Okay. Create more intentionality behind it. So
Yeah, it's working a little smart. It's fine tuning the ask. You
Yeah.
know, so it's the ask isn't, I need you to react to my guess as much as it's a shift to, I just need to just ask very specific questions.
okay.
I mean,
Well, sick. Okay. Well, thank you so much, John, and I appreciate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know how it goes. Send me a note.
Okay, I will.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
I don't like it. I said 3 things. I didn't get to the third thing. Right. But I think I know what was happening. I knew I was stacked. I remember that day. I don't like this ending at all. This is not my best coaching. It's, but I know why. Yeah, it's too much in one day. What would have been more powerful here was to wrap it up, make no reference to self. Yeah, I mean, this is an example of what not to do in terms of wrapping it up. It made it about me. Yeah, no, this is not good. Not my best.
This is what I really admire about you, John, is your openness to self-reflect, the feedback, observe, and that's part of the journey, isn't it? So coaches who are listening, sometimes we expect perfection of ourselves, or it can be really, really daunting to look at the things that we might not be doing great versus the things that we are doing great, and that is part of an overview process or a self-assessment process. So John, what helps you to stay in that kind of growth mindset?
I'm always striving to become better, and I know that I'm good. I mean, I have enough experiences knowing, yeah, I've created brilliant moments. I know how to coach. What I'm really fascinated though is in when they're under stress and pressure. And I know what was happening here at the same time, trying to fit in a 20-minute session to get a demo so that I can follow up with Andrew in a tight spot. The logistics of things. I could beat myself up over that for sure. I also know where I'm at. I'm curious. I mean, what I'm curious about it is when, in the cracks and the stress and the pressure, like when coaches have to do overviews. So part of the assessment process is, what we do is coaches in training will record themselves working with clients, and then they bring that recording to an assessor, and the assessor looks at it. Well, thing one, you're already under stress knowing, okay, I'm trying to do this thing that I'm never done before, and I'm recording it. So that's already stressor one. So I mean, either stressor one and stressor two, new thing, recording thing. Thing three is now I have to do the logistics of the recording and somehow get this recording into the hands of the assessor. So now you're dealing with the technical logistics. Thing four, you're listening to yourself. We often don't listen to ourselves. We don't listen to ourselves in recordings, things like this. So you're adding another thing to that list. And then five, you're getting graded on it, which brings up all kinds of things from people from school. And they want to get the 100%. They want to do it right. They have self-narratives and stories that they're really trying to aim for. So now you're dealing with all of those stressors. However, I choose to take the perspective of those stressors show your cracks more often. They show where you're still lacking. And in this kind of situation here, I realized, oh my goodness, I am so like working with Andrew, a short time, I know what I have going on. I had been stacked back to back that day. I know exactly what Andrew needs to do, more from a mentor role, not from a coach role. What would have been cleaner in this situation is if I said, look, Andrew, this is not coaching. I'm just going to mentor you for just a moment because I've been in his position. I know the pain. I know the struggle. I also hear his excitement. I hear what he's up to. The thing you need to do is this. These are the 5 things you need to do. Knock it out. Like stop guessing. And so I got to the most important thing, but I think three, if I were to think back on it, I kind of wish I'd known what thing, I don't want to do that. I know I do say these are the 3 things, then I don't finish the 3 things. I probably think 3, if I were to go for it, would be to connect with other organizations who are already doing it and start there too. Like, get the networking thing going. I remember once I was speaking to it was a large group and I was telling a story and I only told 2/3 of the story. And someone afterwards said, hey, you didn't finish your story. And this is a story I've told many, many times, but I did not finish it in that group. And I thought, oh my goodness, I left everyone hanging. Here's a book I was reading as well. And they told a story and they didn't tell the end of the story. And I read the whole book and I realized, wait a second, they didn't actually finish the story. So it's the thing that I do. It happens. It's one of the things I really want to clean up in my communication. And I'm seeing it right here. And it's a little horrifying, but at the same time, I embrace the growth that comes from this.
And thank you, John. Thank you for sharing your beautiful moments. Thank you for sharing your perspective, your openness, your growth mindset, your willingness to just reflect on yourself in that way as well. I will say as well, though, even in those last kind of couple of minutes where you're like, oh, I don't like it, and perhaps we were seeing mentor mode. Yeah, I could also see where you were using some of the acknowledgement tool, which is a coaching tool. You were using the championing tool, which is a coaching tool. And you did ask that question, what would it be like to ask more and guess less? So there were those coaching bits in there that I did hear. Yet, as you said, it's also a great example because we need these examples, don't we? Not of just all things that are done brilliantly, but real life scenarios. As you said, you were busy, you were stacked, you were back to back, and we all have to give ourselves some grace as well.
Yeah, you're very kind, Raj. I think this is to me, this is a hard no for me. Like listening to this, I'm thinking this is a horrifying hard no. And there was just so much opportunity here, to really help move the ball forward in a meaningful way. And we did, but in some ways, but the missed opportunities are abounding in this one for me.
Yeah. Well, not being kind, just saying it as it is. In our missed opportunities is also an opportunity for everyone else to learn and grow, isn't it? So I've learned a lot.
Me too. For me as well. Yeah, I've thought about this too. I thought, because what the 2 things that happen in the coaching process, one is you learn about yourself as a coach. When you're in the coaching process itself is a huge self-growth opportunity. Thing 2 is also establishing a business is another huge growth opportunity. And establishing a business it's hard. It's not for the faint of heart. What you get out of it though is a deep understanding of yourself, and you see your blind spots and you see areas where you need to grow. I'm seeing them here, like listening to this recording, and it's fascinating to still see elements of things that I've really tried to work on where there's still hints of it. And a lot of my question goes to, well, why is that still there? What's still here? My old self would have been embarrassed, not really beating myself up. Current self is oddly excited in a weird way. It's oh, okay, it's still here. There's a little bit here. All right. Like, what's that about? Where does it need to go? How can I grow? That's it. I mean, it just might be 2 decades of being swimming in the coaching soup coming through. That is my honest where I'm at listening to this.
Thank you, John. So what I'm taking from that is continually we remain curious. We ask ourselves, what else do I still need to learn? And on that note, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everyone listening. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks.
Hope you have the best time, Raj,
Thank you,
over
John.
there, and really, get to find elements of self that I feel like I'm very excited for you to
I
be in.
appreciate that, John. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I'll see you all soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.